like to make it automatic, like that is the key there. Like that is the key to make your marketing just work for you. Hey, welcome to Smart AF. I'm your host, Torie Mathis. We have got a great show for you today, so let's get started. So you were telling me that most people buy their cars from the exact same people?
We don't.
We don't. I don't think we've ever bought a car from the same person again, but like that's a thing.
We don't even buy cars from the same dealership ever again. Sometimes not even the same state.
So is that why they do it? Because they always are like, I'm a Ford guy, I'm going to keep buying Fords? Like that kind of thing? Or
yeah, and I think a lot of people, they don't move quite as often as us.
Okay.
And so, yeah, people will buy a car and they like the person that they deal with. And, when it's time for them to buy another car, they go and they buy that same newer model car from the same salesperson at the same dealership. Every couple years, if not even sooner than that. It's extremely common. I just met a lady a couple weeks ago that just did the exact same thing. And the thing is they're like, they know me there. And so they feel like that's where they go to get that deal, to get the other car.
So you're saying that car salesmen are relationship masters?
Yes.
So they
Unless
know
they're not.
Something pretty smart. So they know something pretty smart, which is that it's cheaper and better to try to sell to people who already know, like, and trust you, rather than trying to go out and like find all these other customers, which is good. You got to do that, but at the same time, like you have all these people that you've already done business with.
For sure. I mean, some of these people possibly pay cash for their cars, but I think in most cases they're getting loans for the car. So it's a pretty good rule of thumb that if you can get them qualified to buy one car, you can do it again, and it's going to be a lot easier. Plus, when you know that the car came from your dealership and this person has had it for 2 years, now you're going to get the car back on trade-in and sell them a new car. Like it's easy, no-brainer business. You keep that up, and you get a good portfolio of a handful of clients that trade cars in every couple years. Like you don't even have to work too hard to go get any new clients.
Well, I think this could be used in a lot of different businesses, really, though. So I know that like car dealership people would use that, and I think insurance people, like I could see them, and financial advisors, like they're always like, really good at developing relationships with people. But I think that other businesses could do this too, working on their current clientele to get them to come in more often, to get them to buy more often.
Well, and I think like even like getting your clients on some sort of maintenance plan or some sort of program that not only allows you to obviously collect revenue from them, but you're also touching them. You're making that contact with them so that they can remember who you are, because there's like the dog groomer, that
always talking about the dog
that doesn't
groomer.
have your contact information. There's no way for that to occur for them. You're gone to them. But say you have a business that you have an opportunity to either sell the same product multiple times or sell multiple versions of products or just completely different things altogether. You want to keep getting yourself in front of those people to be able to do that. And I mean, there's a ton of different ways you can do it. It just depends on your business and what's going to work well for you. But like even HVAC, you think you if you go, most of your air filters are going to need to be changed every 3 months. When was the last time you changed yours?
Right. Yeah. If somebody said that they were just going to come and take care of it for me, because not only is that like I'm going to forget, but then that gives me that peace of mind that like I don't have to worry about it. I know it's going to be taken care of. I think no matter what the business is, though, you could think of some way to do this. You just got to like really dig in and like, how can we give our clients that peace of mind? How can we make it easier for them? How can we split up payments so that they don't have to, come out at one time? How could we make our model a little bit more recurring? Like, I love the car wash too. Like, people used to always just go and pay for a car wash. But once these car washes were like, well, let's give them an unlimited and make it the cost of a wash or 2 washes or whatever, like, most people aren't going to use them. But then they're like, I know I can if I want to. And I think that people like that. And then they get the touches and they get they get to be able to use that all the time.
For sure. Yeah, and the thing is, like, most top of the line drive-through car washes, I mean, you're dropping $20 for that thing. Where a monthly plan is probably $30. So you wash your car 2 times a month and it's paid for itself. Like, that's an easy sale.
Well, and that's probably a big part of it too, that you need to think, like, how can we make this not only easy for them, but how can we make it, like, irresistible? Because really, the car wash, if a car wash is $20, $22, but they'll tell me for $29 a month, $30, right? I could wash my car as many times as I want. Like you said, why wouldn't you? Like, that's a no-brainer. I
think I washed our car probably 10 or 12 times one time in a month.
But then there were some times that we did it once.
Right.
Just because we got busy, we were gone, the weather didn't cooperate. Like, it probably ends up, being a wash for whatever the business is.
No, especially since we live in an area where it can rain often. I drove by the wash. 95% of the time just pulled in to take care of it. But the minute I wasn't able to do it, like, the car wash still collected that money from us, whether we used it or not.
Could you imagine, though, if the car wash thought, that they didn't do that, then they would have to hustle for every new client or hustle to get people to come back in, like, to make it automatic. Like, that is the key there. Like, that is the key to make your marketing just work for you.
I think it also gives people an opportunity to be loyal to you.
Ooh, I like that. An opportunity to be loyal, not just to be loyal. Yeah.
Well, go back to insurance people. Like, you're probably constantly getting contacted by insurance people. Let me give you a quote, right? Because their whole thing is they've got to grow their portfolio. So if you've already got insurance and you never hear from your insurance person and you're like, sure, give me a quote. Worst case scenario, it's more, in which case nothing changes. Best case scenario, they quote it lower than what you currently pay, and it's a win. So, but if your current insurance person, if they called you on your birthday or, just did little things and kept checking on you, or even if they do some bullshit thing and say, hey, I reran all your stuff, guess what? Your insurance goes down $5 a month. You're like,
smart.
That's fantastic.
Well, and that's what you said with some of the car dealership people did, right? Like, they were relationship master, call you on your birthday. Like, really, that car guy, he called you on your birthday?
Yeah, which...
to me, like, I'm like, wow, I never knew he did that. But, like, we bought a car from this guy when we lived in North Carolina, and I guess he had been calling Sean on his birthday. Like, I didn't realize that, like, that they did that. And I think that, like you said, you make that touch so that like, and trust them. Like, that's super smart.
Well, and from a psychological thing, maybe I was thinking of getting a new car at some point. Every year it's an excuse for this guy to contact me. And I could be like, hey, what do you got in there right now? And, I got all kinds of stuff. Why don't you come on down and take a look? Boom. And he's got it, easy sell. I already know him. He knows me. Whether he gives me a good deal or not, make it feel like I'm getting a good deal. And you multiply that, and it makes it so much easier than just somebody off the streets that they have no intention of buying a car from you, or they obviously they cannot afford to buy a car from you, and you don't know that until after you've spent 6 hours with them. So it pays to just keep the clients you have and make them loyal to you.
Well, and you don't always have to pick up the phone either, especially if, like, you're a business that has a lot of clients that you're not able to do that. Emails or, any cards, you could have companies send out cards and things like that. That's another really great way that you said, just, like, keep in touch with them.
Yeah, you can automate all kinds of stuff. I mean, their birthdays. If it was a big ticket item they bought from you, make up some happy anniversary. It's been a year since you've gotten whatever, or shoot, if it was HVAC and say you sold them a new air conditioning unit, I guarantee there's stats out there somewhere that's going to tell you how much your savings were for the newer, more energy efficient thing. Just send them something saying, hey, congratulations on this year. You've saved X amount of dollars because you did this. The odds of them then saying to their neighbor just in conversation, hey, check this out, that's a whole lot easier sell to then get the next one, because that one customer is so happy that they've saved, hundreds or thousands of dollars because they've upgraded. Because somebody else could be, it still works. Well, how is it working though? If you can justify it, financially or whatever the case may be, then get out. That I think that's my point. Is the other aspect of things is your customers can get you more customers, but they have to want to do that. And there's a whole lot of easy ways to be able to do that for them.
Well, I think anyway, keeping the touches and making sure that you're contacting them or signing them up for something, like you talked about HVAC, maybe a maintenance plan that will come out and take care of changing all your filters, X amount of times a month. It just makes it so much easier for them. But you really do, you have to have some forethought and a little bit of planning, but you could sit down, especially with some of your employees, and be like, okay, so what can we do? Because we did that with the museum. We're like, well, people come into a museum and they come in one time. How do you get them to keep coming back? Because especially when people have to drive for something like that, it's not like you have it's not like a restaurant everybody needs to eat. It's a museum. So a lot of people might just think, well, we're only going to get people one time, or maybe a couple times. But how do you really get them to keep coming back? And it took some thought and it's taken some planning, but I think that we've done a really good job of figuring out how to make sure that's in our messaging, right? Mm-hmm. And to always invite them back in because, there's something new. So knowing that the museum does change, you could have never said that to people and people would never know. But making sure that that's always part of your marketing message tells people the museum is always changing. We're not static. We're not one man's collection. So it gave everybody a reason to always want to come back. And people do. They come back and they're like, you're right. Things are different. We're having events or whatever it is to keep touching people, keep having them come back, keep having them, not just be that one time and done customer. Because that life cycle of your customer, if you tried, you can make it more. You can have people buy more cars. You can have people come and get maintenance from you more times, but you have to ask for it and you have to plan for it and you have to make sure that's part of your business model. And I think no matter what business anybody is in, then making sure that you're keeping in contact with them and doing those touches, whether it's by birthday or making an anniversary or make something up that you can do, or just planning on how you can make your business easier for them, like a maintenance plan. The car wash is a renewal, the gym. Could you imagine if gyms didn't do that kind of, automatic pay? Nobody would go. They do it on purpose so that, you have to pay whether you go or not. And I don't think that that's bad against I think it's good for the gym goer because it's you need to go to the gym. You're paying for it anyway. You better go. And it's good for the gym because, they need to, make sure that they're having that income come in all the time.
See, and I think some businesses it's probably hard for you to visualize being able to do that. Even dentists, if they didn't tell you, hey, it's time to get your teeth cleaned, how often are you going to remember that? So that business, most dentists, that should be built in. If they're not doing that, I don't even understand how they're still in business, because we've gone through a lot of different dentists living all over the country, and every single one of them tell us when to go in for the cleanings. Well, even if it's just after right after we get our teeth cleaned, they're like, all right, we'll see you in 6 months, and you make the appointment there. Even if that's all they did, at least that's done. But most of them, they're gonna send email reminders and call and all that kind of stuff leading up to it. But you've got the other ones where, say it was the plumber or the HVAC installer, something like that, where you don't necessarily expect to be able to have those multiple touches. But think of it like one that like would really, like, you can't not even unvisualize how this would be, like lawn service, right? Could you imagine call up and you're like, hey, I need lawn service.
Just one time.
Their whole business is just to come out and mow your lawn once and that's it. Like you don't even think that. You automatically go to, well, they're going to come weekly and cut my lawn.
Why don't people do that for haircuts? Like, just get them on a plan. Like, not like, oh, I'll see you. We'll call and make an appointment.
Right?
Man, we'll schedule it right now. And like some of them do that, but I don't think they do it like as seriously, like as scheduled. You're right. Like there's so many other businesces that they could do that.
I think it's a mentality switch. Just like try whatever your business is. Try to think of how you can continue to reach out and touch your existing customers, because it also snowballs. You've heard of the snowball effect. Like it starts with that one customer. Like there is no such thing as a snowball effect if you don't start with the one customer. Right. You don't automatically you start getting all this business. Like you got to start with the one.
You know what I thought of? So my dad drills water wells, and my brothers work for my dad. Like it's the family business. When I got out of the Army and I came back, I worked for a few months. I don't know, like 6 months or so with the business, which was really cool to kind of just see what they do. But so he would drill the water wells, and then he would call up this other company and be like, okay, put the pump in. And then that other company would get the pump maintenance, which was a monthly or an annually or whatever, because like anything else, like it has to be maintained. We talk about like your website needs to be maintained. Well, pumps need to be maintained. So my dad would drill the well, and then the other company, like he would call and say, okay, go out there. And so that company would get the pump and the maintenance contract for it. So they were just giving this other company for years and years all that recurring in.
So eventually the pump company makes more money than the driller.
Right. So they finally stopped and they're like, what are we doing? And somewhere in there, they finally did make the switch, and they're like, we need that. We need to do the pump maintenance and everything. But how many times are so many businesses like that little part of the business letting somebody else do it, which is, not great. Like there's got to be something that you can do in there to keep that, not just be that one and done, because that's what we could do for website design. There's a lot of companies that do this. They're design and dash, I call them. And they would design a website and then you never see them again. Here's your website later. But we figured out how to make it so that we stay with our customers. Like they already like us. I already like them. I've spent all this time getting to know them and know their business and their goals. And like, I know what they like. And, you really kind of get this relationship with them that why would they go somewhere else if they needed a brochure designed or they needed, social media, or they needed, we figured these ways out that we can keep working with them. We already know, like, and, trust each other. They already have, confided in me in these things that it's easier than trying to retrain somebody else on what you like. Like I couldn't imagine if we just like handed off our business to somebody else for those types of things.
That'd be brutal. I was just trying to think of a business where it may not make sense to have some sort of residual. I can't think of one.
Yeah, pretty much everything you need, like again and again.
I mean, even if you get into like law enforcement, right? You still want the officer going out into the community, being a peace officer, and being there in the community. Like, if you saw him once and then never saw him again, that's not a good thing. Even firemen, you want they need to come in and they're checking fire extinguishers and making sure things remain safe.
Even if it's like medical procedures and things, people still need checkups and things that need to be like followed up on. Yeah, everything needs to be followed up on. I was
thinking plastic surgeons, and I'm like, so you go in and you get a boob job, like you go through all that recovery and you forget all the pain and discomfort you were in, and they're calling, you ready for that nose job?
Oh no!
Right?
Possibly, yeah.
How many shows have you seen in there interviewing some plastic surgeon and they're like, oh, you can fix your nose here and we'll fix your jawline there and tuck here and tuck there and like...
Or maybe they do like upkeep like Botox or something. I mean, that's something that people have
sure.
to come because it's a sister type of service. So if you can figure out what your sister service is, like the pump, you know, whether it's Botox or it's the pump maintenance and, you know, installing the pumps for the water wells.
Yeah, any pool company that is installing pools that does not have at least a side aspect of the business that's servicing those pools is blowing it big time. Because a pool, you're going to install the pool once. You're not going to install 4 pools for one customer. Maybe they're friends, but not one customer. But if you installed the pool and then provided the service that's needed weekly, like... Yeah, I mean, that's
made me
huge.
think of, what does Carl Bryan say? And I've heard him say it like a million times. He says, who cares about selling the dog? Like the person, the dog, sell them the dog food, right? Because give them the dog for free. Just have them come and buy the dog food from you because the dog is just a one-time purchase, but the dog food is forever. The pool maintenance is forever. Like the chlorine is forever. Like that's like every single business needs to figure out what their dog food is, what their chlorine is, what that pool service. What is that you can, you know, keep those touches and keep in contact with clients and I think, like you said, it makes it easier for the customers. It makes it easier for the lady to buy the car again because she already knows them. She knows they're not going to rip them off. She feels comfortable with them. Right. Of course she's going to go there. But if that car lot didn't offer that opportunity or keep that poor lady has to go find somebody else and then worry about it. Are they going to rip me off? Are they going to give me a good deal? Like, it's as much for the customer as it is for the business.
Yep.
If you want to get smart tools to build your business, go to besmartaf.com.